Many people believe that happiness is something they must chase. They think, if I get this job, I will be happy, or if I find the right partner, I will finally feel complete. This way of thinking is very common, but it is also the root of much suffering. When we chase happiness, we treat it like a goal outside of ourselves. We believe it is something far away, something we must run toward. But no matter how fast we run, the goal seems to move further away. It is like chasing the horizon. No matter how long you walk, you can never reach it. Chasing happiness creates a sense of lack inside us. It makes us feel that something is missing, that we are not good enough as we are. This feeling of lack is very painful. And when we believe happiness is always somewhere else, we can never truly rest. Our minds are always busy, thinking about the next thing we need to achieve or to get. This constant desire for more leads to frustration, stress, and disappointment. True happiness is not something that we find by running after it. It is something that grows naturally when we stop chasing. It comes when we are present, when we accept our life as it is, when we understand that we do not need to be anywhere else or have anything more. A deep peace begins to arise within us. Sometimes people say, "But if I stop chasing, won't I become lazy? Won't I stop growing?" This is a misunderstanding. Accepting the present does not mean we give up our dreams or efforts. It simply means we are not slaves to them. We can work toward good things with a peaceful heart, not a desperate one. The Buddha taught that desire is a main cause of suffering, not because wanting is bad, but because clinging too tightly to our desires blinds us. It blinds us to the beauty of what is already here. When we loosen our grip, when we stop running after happiness, we may find that happiness was quietly with us all along. In this talk, I will share more about how we can live without chasing, and how we can find a deeper and more lasting peace within ourselves. Many of us live with a quiet voice inside that says, "If only things were different, I would be happy." We think, if only I had more money, or if only I looked younger, or if only my family understood me better. This way of thinking seems natural, but it is a trap. If only thinking keeps us tied to the future or the past. It teaches us that happiness is not available now. It tells us that something outside ourselves must change before we can feel peace inside. This creates a constant sense of waiting. Life becomes a series of conditions we hope to meet, but even when we meet them, happiness does not stay long. For example, maybe you wished for a new house. After you get it, you feel happy for a while, but soon, the mind finds something else to want. A bigger garden, a newer kitchen, a better location. The if only shifts to something new. This is how desire works. It never rests. It always creates a new goal, a new condition for happiness. The truth is, life will never be perfect. We will always have problems. We will always have things we wish were different. No matter how much we achieve or change, dissatisfaction can remain if we are caught in this way of thinking. Understanding this is very important. It frees us from the endless chase. When we see that "if only" is an illusion, we begin to question our old habits. We start to realize that happiness does not depend on everything being perfect. It depends on how we meet life as it is. This does not mean we should not try to improve our lives. It is fine to hope for better health, more comfort, or more love. But if we tie our peace to these wishes, we will suffer. Instead, we can do our best without believing that our happiness is waiting somewhere else. When we catch ourselves thinking, "if only," we can gently smile. We can remember that this is just the mind's old habit. We can come back to where we are and feel gratitude for what is already here. In that moment, we step out of the illusion and take a step closer to real peace. When we think about happiness, many of us imagine it as something we can catch. We think that if we work hard enough, plan carefully, and make the right choices, we will one day catch happiness and hold it forever. But in real life, happiness is not like a thing we can catch and keep. It moves, it changes, it slips away when we try to hold it too tightly. Imagine trying to catch a butterfly with your hands. If you chase it, it flies away faster. Even if you catch it, it struggles to get free. In the same way, when we chase happiness, it becomes harder to hold on to. Every time we think we have found it, life changes. New problems appear. New desires rise up. The happiness we thought we had disappears. Some people spend their whole lives running after the next source of happiness. They change jobs, move to new cities, start new relationships, buy new things. At first, these changes bring excitement, but after some time, the excitement fades and the same emptiness returns. It feels like starting over again and again, always hoping that the next change will finally bring lasting peace. This pattern is exhausting. It wears down the body and the heart. It makes us feel that we are always missing something, even when we have many good things in our lives. It can lead to sadness, anger, and even despair. But we do not have to live this way. We can begin to understand that happiness is not something outside us. It is not found by changing our outer world again and again. True happiness is a quiet strength inside us. It does not depend on what is happening around us. It depends on how we relate to life itself. When we see happiness as a moving target, we can stop chasing it. We can stop believing that the next thing will complete us. Instead, we can turn inward. We can find peace in the middle of life's changes, not by holding on to them, but by letting them come and go. Life will always move. Situations will always change. But when we stop chasing and instead open our hearts to life as it is, happiness is no longer something far away. It becomes something simple, natural, and close, like the breath we take without even thinking. Desire is a natural part of being human. It is not something we need to hate or fear. It is simply a part of how our minds work. We desire food when we are hungry. We desire warmth when we are cold. In these ways, desire helps us survive. But many of our desires go beyond basic needs. They become endless wants for things that cannot truly satisfy us. The problem is not desire itself. The problem is when we believe that satisfying every desire will bring us lasting happiness. This belief causes much suffering. Every time we satisfy one desire, another one appears. No matter how much we get, the mind always says, "What's next?" For example, a person may dream of buying a beautiful car. They save money, work hard, and finally buy it. For a short time, they feel happy and proud. But soon, the feeling fades. Maybe a newer model comes out. Maybe someone else has a bigger car. The joy they felt turns into dissatisfaction again. This is the endless cycle of desire. If we do not understand the nature of desire, we can spend our whole lives chasing after things, thinking they will finally complete us. But the truth is, no object, no achievement, no person can give us permanent happiness. Everything in life changes. Everything we hold on to will one day slip away. Understanding this is not depressing. It is freeing. When we see that desire is endless by nature, we can stop blaming ourselves. We can stop thinking that something is wrong with us because we are not fully satisfied. We can also stop blaming the world for not giving us what we want. Instead, we can learn to watch our desires with calm eyes. When a desire arises, we can notice it. We can smile at it, like watching a cloud pass across the sky. We do not need to fight it, and we do not need to obey it. We can simply recognize it and let it move on. By understanding the nature of desire, we begin to build a different relationship with life. A softer, wiser, more peaceful way of living. A way that does not depend on endless wanting, but instead finds quiet joy in the simple fact of being alive. If you ever sit quietly in a forest or by the sea, you will notice something very important. Nature is never in a hurry. Trees grow slowly. Rivers flow at their own pace. The mountains stand without trying to be anything other than mountains. Everything in nature moves according to its true rhythm, without chasing anything. When we observe nature closely, we can see a deep stillness at its heart. Even when the wind blows or the rain falls, there is a kind of peace that never leaves. This stillness is not about being frozen or doing nothing. It is a living stillness, full of quiet energy and life. In our modern world, we are often taught to be busy, to rush, to always be doing something. We are told that if we are not moving fast, we are falling behind. But nature shows us a different truth. Growth does not need to be rushed. Life unfolds naturally, in its own perfect time. When we are always rushing and chasing, we become tired. Our minds grow noisy, and our hearts become restless. We lose touch with the simple joy of being alive. We forget that much of life's beauty can only be seen when we slow down. Nature teaches us that it is okay to rest. It is okay to pause. We do not need to force everything. Just as a flower opens naturally to the sun, we too can trust the unfolding of our lives. We can stop pushing so hard and start listening more carefully to the quiet wisdom inside us. Stillness is not about escaping from life. It is about meeting life fully, without fighting it. It is about standing firmly where we are, like a mountain, even when strong winds blow. It is about trusting that we are already part of something much greater than ourselves. When we allow stillness into our hearts, we can stop chasing happiness. We begin to see that peace is not something far away. It is already here, waiting for us to notice it. Like the stillness in a deep forest, it has been quietly present all along. Many people misunderstand acceptance. They think it means giving up or letting life walk over them. But true acceptance is very different. It is not weakness. It is a deep strength. It means seeing life clearly and saying, yes, this is how it is right now, without anger, without fear. Acceptance does not mean we like everything that happens. It does not mean we stop trying to improve our lives or help others. It simply means we stop fighting reality. We stop wasting our energy, wishing things were different when they are not. We meet life as it comes, with open eyes and an open heart. When we refuse to accept what is happening, we create a second layer of suffering. There is the pain of the situation itself, and then there is the pain of fighting it. This second pain can be even heavier than the first. It comes from resistance, from the feeling that life is wrong, that life should be different. For example, when we are sick, there is already physical discomfort. But if we also get angry and think, this should not be happening to me, our suffering doubles. If instead we accept, yes, I am sick now, the mind becomes calmer. From that calmness, we can still seek healing, but we do it with peace instead of panic. Acceptance brings great freedom. It allows us to live fully, even when life is difficult. We no longer wait for perfect conditions to feel at peace. We find peace in the middle of change, loss, and uncertainty. We learn to ride the waves of life instead of being crushed by them. Some people fear that if they accept life as it is, they will lose their motivation. But the opposite is true. When we stop fighting reality, we save our energy. We can use that energy to respond wisely, to act from a place of clarity instead of confusion. True acceptance is an act of courage. It requires us to trust life, even when we do not understand it. It invites us to relax our grip, to let life flow through us instead of against us. When we accept what is, without judgment, we create a space inside us. In that space, true peace can grow, and in that peace we find that we are stronger, wiser, and more alive than we ever knew. In today's world, many people believe that more is better. More money, more possessions, more experiences. We are taught to think that happiness grows as we add more things to our lives. But often, the opposite is true. Sometimes the more we have, the more complicated and stressful life becomes. True joy is often found in simplicity. It is found in small, quiet moments, a warm cup of tea, the sound of rain, a kind smile from a stranger. These simple things are easy to overlook when we are busy chasing bigger dreams. But when we slow down and pay attention, we see how rich and beautiful ordinary life can be. Living simply does not mean living without comfort or beauty. It means appreciating what we already have, instead of always reaching for more. It means choosing quality over quantity, depth over speed, presence over distraction. When we fill our lives with too many things, our minds become cluttered. We worry about keeping what we have. We fear losing it. We compare ourselves to others and feel restless. But when we simplify, we create space, not just in our homes, but in our hearts. A simple life is not an empty life. It is a full life, filled with meaning. It is a life where we can notice the changing colors of the sky, the laughter of a child, the feeling of fresh air on our skin. These are treasures that money cannot buy. Choosing simplicity is an act of wisdom. It is saying, I do not need endless things to be complete. I am enough. My life is enough. This attitude brings great peace. It allows us to enjoy what we have, instead of always wanting something new. Sometimes people worry that if they live simply, they will miss out on exciting experiences. But the truth is, when we live simply, we are more open to real experiences. We are more present. We taste our food more deeply. We listen more fully. We love more honestly. Simplicity invites us to live from the heart, not from fear. It teaches us that happiness is not hidden in faraway dreams. It is here, in this moment, waiting for us to notice it. When we find joy in simplicity, we stop chasing happiness and start living it. Everything in life changes. This is a simple truth, but it is often hard to accept. We want good moments to last forever. We want to hold on to people, places, and feelings. But no matter how tightly we hold, everything passes with time. This is the nature of life. This is impermanence. At first, the idea of impermanence can seem sad. It can make us feel afraid. We may think, if everything changes, then nothing is safe. But if we look more deeply, we can see that impermanence is not an enemy. It is a great teacher and a great gift. Because things change, pain does not last forever. Difficult times pass. Broken hearts heal. Even the darkest night ends with the rising sun. Without impermanence, there would be no hope, no growth, no new beginnings. Impermanence also teaches us to appreciate life more fully. When we understand that everything is temporary, we stop taking things for granted. We savor the beauty of a sunset because we know it will not last. We cherish our loved ones more deeply because we know our time together is precious. Many people suffer because they expect life to be stable and unchanging. When life moves, they feel shocked and betrayed. But if we live with the understanding that change is natural, we are not so easily shaken. We can meet change with an open heart, not with fear. Impermanence invites us to live each moment fully. It reminds us that this breath, this smile, this moment of kindness, all are treasures. They are unique. They will never come again in exactly the same way. Knowing this, we can live with more gratitude and tenderness. Accepting impermanence does not mean becoming cold or distant. It means loving more wisely. It means loving without clinging. It means opening our hearts to life's beauty, knowing that its beauty comes from its fragile, ever-changing nature. When we embrace impermanence, we find a deep peace. We are no longer surprised when life changes, and we are no longer afraid. We ride the waves of life with grace, and in doing so, we discover a happiness that does not depend on holding on to things, but grows from letting them flow. In a world full of change and uncertainty, a stable mind is one of the greatest treasures we can have. A stable mind does not mean a mind that never feels sadness or fear. It means a mind that can experience all emotions without being overwhelmed by them. It is like a strong tree that bends with the wind but does not break. Many people think that peace comes from controlling the outside world. They believe that if they can fix every problem, find the perfect relationship, or reach every goal, they will feel calm inside. But the outside world is always changing. We cannot control it completely. If our peace depends on outside conditions, our peace will always be fragile. True stability comes from within. It comes from training our mind to be steady, no matter what is happening around us. When we have a stable mind, we can face success and failure, joy and sorrow, comfort and discomfort, with the same deep strength. Building a stable mind takes time and patience. It begins with understanding that our thoughts and emotions are not the whole truth. They are passing events, like clouds moving across the sky. We can notice them without being caught by them. We can feel them without losing ourselves in them. One helpful way to build a stable mind is to develop the habit of pausing. When something difficult happens, instead of reacting immediately, we can take a breath. We can give ourselves a little space to respond wisely, instead of reacting from fear or anger. Another important step is to nourish the mind with good things. Just as we care for our bodies with healthy food, we can care for our minds with healthy thoughts. Gratitude, patience, kindness, these are the foods of a stable mind. When we practice them regularly, they grow stronger inside us. A stable mind is not a mind that feels nothing. It is a mind that feels everything, but is not carried away. It is a mind that can open to life with courage and trust. When we build this kind of mind, we are no longer controlled by the ups and downs of life. We can enjoy good times without clinging to them, and face hard times without losing hope. We become like a deep river, flowing steadily, no matter what stones or storms may come. Many people live their lives chasing happiness, believing it is the highest goal. But there is something even greater than happiness. It is freedom. Freedom from being pushed and pulled by every changing feeling. Freedom from always needing life to go a certain way to feel okay. If we are honest, we can see that happiness, as most people think of it, is often very fragile. It rises and falls, depending on our circumstances. When things go well, we feel happy. When they do not, we suffer. This kind of happiness is like a small boat on a rough sea, easily tossed by every wave. True freedom is different. It does not depend on everything being perfect. It is the deep peace that comes when we are no longer ruled by the need to feel happy all the time. It is the strength to stay steady through both sunshine and storm. This freedom grows when we stop believing that life must always feel good. We begin to understand that every experience, even painful ones, can be part of a full and meaningful life. We stop running away from discomfort. We stop grasping for pleasure. We meet life as it is, with open eyes and an open heart. This way of living brings a different kind of joy, a joy that is not loud or flashy, but deep and quiet. It is the joy of being fully alive, no matter what is happening. It is the joy of knowing we are strong enough to face whatever comes. Some people worry that giving up the chase for happiness will make life dull. But in truth, it makes life richer. When we are not always judging each moment as good enough or not good enough, we can finally see the beauty in all of it. The easy days and the hard ones, the laughter and the tears. True freedom is not about escaping life. It is about entering life fully, with courage and trust. It is about standing in the middle of change, uncertainty, and imperfection, and saying, "This too is life, and I am here for it." When we stop chasing happiness and discover true freedom, we find something better than endless pleasure. We find peace. We find strength. We find a home within ourselves that no circumstance can ever take away. As we have seen, the chase for happiness often leads us further away from peace. When we run after happiness like a prize, it slips through our fingers. But when we stop running and open ourselves to life as it is, we find something deeper. We find a quiet, steady joy that does not depend on perfect moments. Living this way does not mean giving up dreams or hopes. It means holding them lightly, with a heart that is strong enough to welcome both success and failure. It means knowing that our worth does not depend on what we achieve, and that true peace is always close, waiting for us in the present moment. Each breath we take is a chance to return to this peace. Each small act of kindness, each moment of gratitude, strengthens the life within us. We do not need to fix the whole world to find meaning. We can live simply, love deeply, and walk gently through this changing life. The path is not always easy. Some days are bright and clear, others are heavy with sorrow. But when we trust in the wisdom of change, the strength of acceptance, and the beauty of simplicity, we can walk through every season of life with grace. I am deeply grateful to all of you who have spent this time with me today. Thank you for your kindness in watching this video. Thank you also to those who have offered support through likes, subscriptions, comments, super thanks, and membership. Your presence and your generosity are truly appreciated. They help this small space of reflection continue to grow and reach those who may need it. If these reflections have spoken to your heart, you are warmly invited to stay connected. There is always room here for peaceful conversations and shared journeys. May your days be touched by quiet joy, and may you find freedom beyond the chase for happiness. Thank you again for walking this path with me.